There is a quiet mistake many people your age make every single day, and it doesn't hurt, it doesn't warn you, it doesn't even feel wrong. But slowly, silently, it pushes your blood sugar higher, strains your organs, and inches you closer to something you fear but rarely speak about: diabetes. And the most unsettling part? It begins with something as simple as how you drink water. Welcome to Healthy Aging with Dr. Emily Carter. If you've found your way here, it's not by accident. It means a part of you is still fighting, still searching for answers, still refusing to accept that feeling weaker, slower, or more tired is just part of getting older. And I want you to know you're not alone in that feeling. I've spent decades sitting across from people just like you, listening to their quiet worries, the ones they don't even share with their families. So if this message reaches you, take it as something more than just a video. Take it as care. And if you feel that, if something inside you says this matters, then stay close and consider subscribing, not for me, but for yourself, because the right knowledge at the right time can quietly change the course of your life. Now let me ask you something. How do you drink water? Not how much, but how. Do you wake up already feeling a little dry, maybe your mouth slightly bitter, your body a little stiff, and then you reach for a glass and drink it quickly? Almost like checking off a task? Or maybe you go hours without drinking anything at all, only remembering when your head feels heavy or your energy dips, and then you drink a large amount all at once, thinking you've done something good for your body. It feels harmless, even responsible. But this pattern, this unconscious habit, can quietly disrupt your blood sugar in ways most people never realize. Because as you age, your body no longer manages water the way it used to. The signals become weaker. The sensation of thirst, duller. And the delicate balance between hydration and blood sugar becomes more fragile than ever. You see, your blood is not just carrying sugar, it's carrying life. And when you don't hydrate properly, your blood becomes more concentrated, thicker, heavier. That sugar, instead of being gently balanced, becomes more intense, more difficult for your body to regulate. It's like turning a slow stream into a stagnant pool. Everything becomes harder to move, harder to process. And here's where it gets deeply personal. Many of my patients didn't realize this until it was too late. They would come to me and say, "Doctor, I don't even eat that much sugar. I don't understand why my levels are rising." And when we looked closer, it wasn't just what they were eating, it was how they were living between those meals. Long hours without water, sudden bursts of overhydration, drinking at the wrong times, ignoring the body's quiet signals. Small things, repeated every day, creating a silent storm inside. Imagine waking up in the morning. Your body has gone hours without water. Your blood sugar, naturally rising from overnight processes, is already slightly elevated. And instead of gently supporting your body, you rush. You drink tea or coffee first, maybe something sweet. And water comes later, or not at all. In that moment, your body is asking for balance, but it receives stress instead. And over time, that stress leaves a mark. You might notice it in subtle ways. Feeling unusually tired even after a full night's sleep. A slight dizziness when you stand. A dryness in your skin that no cream seems to fix. Or that strange, persistent heaviness in your body, like something isn't flowing the way it used to. These are not just signs of aging. These are messages. But most people ignore them because they don't seem urgent enough. And that's the danger. Because the truth is, diabetes doesn't always begin with a dramatic symptom. It often begins quietly, with patterns like this. With habits so ordinary, they don't feel like mistakes at all. Now let me show you something different. Imagine a morning where you don't rush, where instead of immediately reaching for stimulation, you begin with restoration. You sit for a moment, and you drink water slowly. Not gulping, not forcing, just allowing it to move through your body like a gentle reset. In that moment, something shifts. Your blood begins to dilute naturally. Your organs wake up with support, not shock. Your metabolism starts with balance instead of confusion. And your blood sugar, instead of spiking unpredictably, begins the day on steadier ground. This isn't a miracle. It's alignment. But most people never experience it because no one ever taught them that hydration is not just about quantity, it's about timing, rhythm, and awareness. And there's something else you need to understand, something that might surprise you. Drinking too much water at once can be just as harmful. I've seen this many times. Someone realizes they're not drinking enough, and suddenly they overcorrect. Large glasses, one after another, especially during meals or late at night. It feels like discipline, like they're doing something right. But the body doesn't work like that. When you flood your system all at once, you dilute essential electrolytes, you strain your kidneys, and ironically, you can disrupt blood sugar balance even further. It's like trying to fix a fragile system by overwhelming it. Your body doesn't need force. It needs consistency. It needs patience. It needs respect. And perhaps the most overlooked truth of all is that water is not just physical. It's deeply connected to how you live your day. Think about it. The same person who forgets to drink water often forgets to pause, to breathe, to listen to their body. They push through fatigue, ignore discomfort, and tell themselves, "I'll take care of it later." But later quietly becomes years. And years become consequences. So this isn't just about water. It's about awareness. It's about learning to notice the small signals before they become loud problems. And I know, part of you might be thinking, can something this simple really make that much of a difference? And I understand that doubt. Because we've been taught to look for complex solutions, expensive treatments, dramatic interventions. But the truth, the one I've seen over and over again, is that the body responds most powerfully to the simplest, most consistent acts of care. A glass of water at the right time, in the right way, can do more than you imagine. Not overnight, but quietly, steadily over time. And the people who understand this, the ones who change this one habit, often notice something remarkable. Their energy becomes more stable, their mind feels clearer, their cravings reduce, and their blood sugar begins to behave differently. Not perfectly, but better. And better is where healing begins. But there's still something crucial you haven't been told yet, something even more important than how much or when you drink. Because there is a specific pattern, a hidden rhythm of hydration throughout the day that can either protect you or slowly push you toward imbalance. And most people are getting it wrong without ever realizing it. There is a rhythm your body has been trying to follow for years, a quiet internal clock that doesn't use numbers or alarms, but sensations, subtle shifts in energy, small changes in temperature, a whisper of dryness in your throat that you've learned to ignore. And when you ignore that rhythm long enough, something begins to drift out of alignment. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly enough that you start calling it normal. This is where most people lose control over their blood sugar without ever realizing it. Because the body doesn't fail all at once. It adapts, it compensates, it survives, until one day it simply can't anymore. Let me bring you closer to something I've seen too many times. A man in his late 60s sits across from me. He tells me he feels fine. Maybe a little more tired than before, maybe waking up once or twice at night, maybe a slight blur in his vision when he reads. Nothing alarming, nothing urgent, just changes. But when we test his blood sugar, the numbers tell a different story. And when I ask him about his daily habits, especially water, he pauses. "I drink when I feel thirsty," he says. And that sentence, that one simple belief, is often where the problem begins. Because by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already behind. At your age, the thirst signal is no longer reliable. It's delayed, weakened, sometimes completely silent. So if you wait for thirst, you're not maintaining balance. You're constantly trying to catch up. And that delay, that gap, is where blood sugar quietly rises. So what does the right rhythm actually look like? It begins the moment you open your eyes. Before tea, before coffee, before food, before the world rushes in and demands your attention, there should be water. Not a large amount, not something forced. Just a calm, steady intake. One glass, sip slowly. Let it touch your system gently. Let your body recognize it. This is not just hydration. This is a signal. You are telling your body, we begin the day in balance. And something subtle happens when you do this consistently. Your morning blood sugar, which naturally tends to rise due to hormonal changes, begins to stabilize more easily. Your body doesn't feel the need to overcompensate. It doesn't enter that quiet state of internal stress. But here's where most people unknowingly undo that benefit. They drink water, and then they stop. Hours pass. The body works. The blood circulates. Sugar enters the system through meals or internal processes, but there's no consistent support to keep things flowing. So instead of a steady stream, your system becomes a series of droughts and floods. And this pattern is deeply damaging over time. What your body truly needs is spacing. Small, consistent amounts of water every 60 to 90 minutes. Not because you're thirsty, but because you're aware. Because you're choosing to support your body before it has to struggle. Think of it like this. You wouldn't wait until a plant is completely dry and collapsing before watering it. You give it just enough, regularly, so it never reaches that point of stress. Your body deserves the same care. Now let's talk about something most people get completely wrong: drinking water with meals. It feels natural, doesn't it? You sit down to eat, and alongside your food is a full glass of water. You take bites, you sip, sometimes large gulps. It feels comfortable, even satisfying. But inside your body, something else is happening. When you drink too much water during meals, especially quickly, you dilute the digestive enzymes your body needs to break down food properly. Digestion becomes slower, less efficient. And when food, especially carbohydrates, is not processed smoothly, it can lead to sharper, more unpredictable rises in blood sugar. It's not about eliminating water during meals. It's about respecting the timing. A few small sips if needed, that's fine. But the real hydration should come before and after, not during. Give your body the space to do its work. Now here is something even fewer people realize. The late evening is where some of the most harmful habits take place. You've gone through the day. Maybe you didn't drink enough earlier. And now, as night approaches, you suddenly remember. So you drink more. Larger amounts. Sometimes right before bed. It feels like you're making up for the day. But your body doesn't see it that way. At night, your system is preparing for rest, repair, and balance. Flooding it with water at this time can disrupt sleep, strain your kidneys, and create fluctuations in blood sugar that carry into the next morning. And then you wake up, not fully rested, slightly dehydrated again, and the cycle repeats. Quietly, relentlessly. This is how patterns become problems. But when you begin to shift this, even slightly, everything begins to change. Imagine your day now. You wake up and you hydrate gently. You continue through your morning, adding small, consistent amounts. Before meals, you give your body support. After meals, you allow it to recover and process. And as evening approaches, you begin to slow down, reducing intake gradually, respecting your body's need for rest. This is not a strict rule. It's a rhythm. And once your body feels that rhythm, it responds. You may not notice it immediately, but within days, something begins to feel different. Your energy doesn't crash as hard. Your feels clearer. Your body feels lighter. And over time, your blood sugar begins to reflect that change. But there's one more layer to this, something deeper, something that goes beyond timing and quantity. It's the intention behind it, because the way you drink water reflects the way you treat yourself. If it's rushed, forgotten, inconsistent, it often mirrors a life where your own needs come last, where you've spent years taking care of others, solving problems, pushing through discomfort, and somewhere along the way, you stopped listening to your own body. And now, your body is asking you to come back. Not with something complicated, not with something extreme, but with something simple, repeated with awareness. A glass of water, held in your hand, can become a moment of reconnection. A pause, a quiet promise to yourself that your health still matters. And I want you to understand something very clearly. This is not about perfection. You don't need to follow this perfectly every single day. You don't need to measure every sip or worry about getting it just right. What matters is the shift in awareness. Because once you become aware, you can no longer unknow it. And that awareness will guide you, even on the days you forget. But there's still one final truth, one that many people overlook until it's too late. Because even when you drink water correctly, There are hidden factors, small, almost invisible mistakes that can still keep your blood sugar elevated without you understanding why. And once you see them, you'll never look at your daily routine the same way again. There are moments in life when the truth doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't shake you or force you to stop. It simply sits quietly in front of you, waiting for you to notice it. And what I'm about to share with you is one of those truths, the kind that, once you see it, you begin to recognize it everywhere in your daily life. Because even if you begin to drink water the right way, even if you build that gentle rhythm your body has been craving, there are still hidden habits, small and almost invisible, that can quietly keep your blood sugar higher than it should be. And most people never connect them. Let me take you into something very real. Have you ever reached for water, but instead you chose something else? A cup of tea, maybe? Or coffee? Perhaps a packaged juice, or even what you believe is a healthy drink. It feels harmless. After all, it's still liquid. It still feels refreshing. It still gives you that sense of doing something good for your body. But your body knows the difference. Because not every drink is water, and not every drink hydrates you the way your body truly needs. Caffeinated drinks like tea and coffee, especially when taken frequently, can gently pull water out of your system. Not dramatically, not in a way you feel immediately, but enough to create a subtle imbalance over time. And when that imbalance builds, your blood becomes just a little more concentrated, your sugar just a little harder to regulate. It's not about removing these comforts from your life. It's about understanding that they cannot replace water, no matter how normal they feel. And then there are sweetened drinks. This is where the illusion becomes dangerous. I've met people who completely avoid desserts, who are careful with their meals, and yet their blood sugar continues to rise. And when we look closely, the answer is often sitting quietly in their daily routine. A glass of packaged juice in the morning, a flavored drink in the afternoon, even sugar-free options that quietly influence insulin response in ways we are still learning to fully understand. These drinks don't just fail to hydrate you properly, they actively work against your body's attempt to maintain balance. It's like trying to put out a small fire while unknowingly adding fuel to it. And here is something even more subtle, something that almost no one pays attention to: the temperature of the water you drink. Cold water feels refreshing, especially in warmer days. It gives you an immediate sense of relief. But for your body, especially as you age, extremely cold water can create a kind of internal shock. It slows down digestion, tightens blood vessels, and makes it just a little harder for your system to maintain its natural flow. On the other hand, warm or room temperature water moves differently. It's absorbed more gently. It supports digestion. It allows your body to stay in a state of ease rather than resistance. This is not a strict rule, but it is a quiet advantage. And over time, these quiet advantages begin to add up. Now I want you to think about something deeper. Stress. Not the kind you talk about, but the kind you carry silently. The thoughts that keep running in the background. The worries you've learned to live with. The tension you don't even realize you're holding in your body. Stress changes everything. It raises hormones that push your blood sugar higher. It disrupts your body's natural rhythms. And perhaps most importantly, it disconnects you from awareness. When you are stressed, you forget to drink water. Or you drink it without presence, quickly, unconsciously, as if it's just another task to complete. And this is where the real transformation begins to reveal itself. Because lowering your blood sugar, protecting yourself from diabetes, it's not just about what you do. It's about how you do it. The pace, the awareness, the intention. A simple act, done with presence, becomes something far more powerful. Imagine this. You pause for a moment during your day. You pick up a glass of water. You don't rush it. You don't multitask. You simply drink, slowly, feeling it, noticing it, allowing your body to receive it. In that moment, your nervous system begins to calm. Your body shifts out of stress. Your internal processes begin to align again. It seems small, but it's not, because your body responds to consistency, not intensity. And this is where so many people misunderstand health. They look for big changes, dramatic diets, strict routines, things that feel difficult enough to be effective. But the body, especially as it ages, doesn't thrive under pressure. It thrives under care. Gentle, consistent, repeated care. And water, when used correctly, becomes one of the simplest ways to give your body that care every single day. Now I want to bring you to a moment of honesty, just between you and me. Think about your day yesterday. Not in detail, just in feeling. Did you move through it with awareness, or were you rushing from one thing to the next? Did you listen to your body, or did you ignore it until it demanded attention? Did you treat yourself with the same care you give to others, or did you place yourself at the very end? Because the way you answer these questions is often reflected in something as simple as how you drink water. And this is why this matters so much. Because it's not just about preventing diabetes. It's about reclaiming a relationship with your own body, one that may have been neglected for years. And the moment you begin to shift that relationship, even in small ways, everything begins to change. Your energy, your clarity, your sense of control over your own health, and yes, even your blood sugar. But I want to leave you with something that stays with you, something you carry beyond this moment. Your body is not failing you. It is speaking to you in the only ways it can. Through fatigue, through dryness, through small discomforts that are easy to ignore until they aren't. And water, something so simple, so overlooked, is one of the clearest ways you can respond. Not with fear, not with urgency, but with quiet, consistent care. Because in the end, it's not the big changes that protect your health. It's the small things, done daily, that no one else sees. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you hold a glass of water in your hand, you won't see it the same way again.